Hey, everybody. Welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
And we are three angry men.
Yes.
Host number
Host number 3.
Host number 3. Host number 1, 2, and 3 are angry. No, we're not angry. But we're talking about 12 angry men today on the show, which was... now, Garrett or David, this was your pick. Did this win Best
This did
Adapted?
not.
It was
nominated for Best Adapted and did not win.
There you go.
Lost to a movie. We'll talk about it in a minute, what it lost to.
But that's part of our Oscars month here for March, where we are talking about Best Screenplay nominees and winners. These are movies that have been nominated or won Best Original or Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars, or other various titles it may have been under over the years. That's something I've noticed, is the titles have changed. Have you guys noticed that? Going through some of the old awards, It's like, oh, it used to be called this, and now it's called that.
Yes.
The writing awards.
Yeah, it was called Best Writing back when this particular award was nominated.
So we'll be talking about movies all month long that are in the Best Writing category. Very exciting. This movie came out in 1957. Is that right?
Yes.
Based on a teleplay.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah. Very interesting.
It was a TV film, and I got some. It was initially produced for television. A live production of 12 Angry Men was broadcast on CBS on September 20th, 1954. It won 3 Emmys.
Letterboxd says about this movie: the defense and the prosecution have rested, and the jury is filing into the jury room to decide if a young Spanish American is guilty or innocent of murdering his father. What begins as an open and shut case soon becomes a mini-drama of each of the jurors' prejudices and preconceptions about the trial, the accused, and each other. David, tell us more about when this movie came out. What did it like? How did it compare to this teleplay stuff and all that?
Well, it came out. It was officially released in theaters on April 10th, 1957, and was at the time considered a bit of a disappointing box office performance. Made about $1 million, according to Variety's archives for 1957 in the United States. That's not just opening weekend; that's total. And then it made about another $1 million overseas, where it was actually considered like a lot more, like there was a little bit better reception overseas. For worldwide total of maybe $2 million, a budget of just $380,000, though actor Henry Fonda claimed they only spent $347,000 of that. Shot and filmed in just 21 days. And Henry Fonda, the actor who plays Juror number 8, was a massive part of getting this movie made. He saw the TV movie in 1954 and said, "We got to make that a real movie, like a theatrical movie. It looks great, and I want to be Juror number 8. I want to be the main guy." So he was a big part of getting it launched. It was the directorial debut of Sidney Lumet, who directed Network, which we watched last year during our Academy Awards month when we watched Best Picture nominees. Worth a shot there. But yes, ended up being the number 91 movie of 1957. Was nominated for 3 Academy Awards, but didn't win any of them. The number 1 movie in 1957 was The Ten Commandments, starring Charlton Heston. He had 80 Days Around the World at number 2. Giant at number 3. Fat Joey and 7 Wonders of the World was number 5. So 1957, a long time ago. And this is our first movie that we reviewed from the 1950s.
You mean to tell me we haven't reviewed Fat Joey?
We haven't reviewed Fat Joey just yet, or Giant, or any of the others.
Gotta get that
but we talked about it at the end of our during our So Many Sequels wrapped of last year. I had mentioned that we hadn't done any movies from the 1950s, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to cross that off.
I'm stunned. I don't remember that reveal, so I'm stunned again. Well, I'm glad that we've accomplished checking a decade off the list. That's crazy.
We're doing better, boys.
We're doing better. Wow. Okay. 12 Angry Men. Was this a first time watch for everybody?
It was.
Yeah. First time watch here as well. It's one I don't. How do you even jump into talking about this? Because it really is like in television terms, it's a bottle episode. It exists in totally in one room, basically, for about a little over 90 minutes. Literally starts at the beginning with them just coming in, and we have a 12 or was it 11 to 1 vote in favor of
Yes.
guilty.
Yes.
Yes.
Thoughts going into it? What did you guys expect? What have you heard?
I expected exactly what I got, which is that
Yeah.
it's supposed to be a sort of very claustrophobic drama, pretty much set in one room. There is one scene where they go into the bathroom. So you have like two sets, but it's going to be these 12 characters sort of going back and forth and slowly but surely uncovering details and biases and all, like, and just, un realizing more and more about each other, realizing more and more about the case, and really drilling down on, I don't know, concepts of, you know, groupthink, I guess, and how, prejudice plays into these types of things. I mean, that's what I expected, and that's what it is.
Yeah,
What
I
about you,
didn't
Garrett?
really know what to expect other than a lot of talking. Obviously, this is about a jury room, and you would think, I'm a person who has watched many an episode of Matlock, both the Andy Griffith and Kathy Bates versions. Thank you very much. So I know some courtroom drama, if I do say so myself. And this is what, honestly, you would hope people would take it as. And I think that this movie does a good job of yeah, looking at all of these different points of view from different people, and how they view jury duty also, and how the responsibility, especially in this case, is something that we could so easily take for granted because we got a ball game to get to or something like that. It is a different era of movie also, and so as we've learned over time and as we know, this is shot differently, so it feels like you're in the room with them, and so it takes a long time to really get to where this is going, and that's the way the movies used to be, and especially a play like this where there's a long discussion. It takes really a while to get to where it's like all of the sudden I'm like sucked in.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate those kinds of movies. Man, they do feel, I think it's an hour and a half, and it felt every minute of a day and a half of
It
waiting for a
does.
jury to come back with their deliberation.
What about you, Josh?
It totally does. Yeah, I agree that, I kind of I was really interested in this, and I've been interested in it for a while because I think jury duty in particular is an interesting concept. I don't know if I haven't been called to do it yet, and I don't
Mm.
know if I want to. People always complain about it, but there's a part of me that seems like it could be
You'd
vaguely
be a
interesting
juror number 8.
actually. Right, I absolutely would. Because I ask questions and it bugs the hell out of me when people just go, okay. And
Yeah.
as you can see, if you watch this movie, thank God for Juror 8.
Mhm.
Um, no, yeah, and that's why I think it's very interesting. I don't understand, how they work. I don't understand the concept of a jury. But, the vast majority of cases it seems that juries work on are not as contentious as this. Don't take as long. But they didn't seem to think it was going to take long either. Everybody
Mm.
walked in there pretty convinced this was a closed case, except for juror number 8, and he slowly helps people unravel throughout it. Why that there should be, he doesn't even introduce evidence in the beginning or anything. He just goes, I don't know. It just seems like we got to this decision pretty quickly. Maybe we could just
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Um,
really
so I
diving
like
into
I
the
like that.
concept of reasonable doubt.
Yes, I like
Right.
that because I wanted to see it. I wanted to see that examined because people have a preconceived notion of how they think the justice system works, and at the end of the day, a lot of times it is just 12 dudes behind a room
Mhm.
deciding your fate.
Well, and
You
I
know,
do
it's
I do think it was raised in this movie about the concept of reasonable doubt and what that means because 1957, there was a remake of this movie in 1997, and that same concept, people take it for granted and they forget when you're on jury duty or in your own life, it's innocent until proven guilty, and I feel like we're so quick in our age to judge in a negative way that we don't listen, that we don't go in with they're innocent and they have to prove me otherwise. We go into it thinking they did it, and I need to be proven otherwise. And that's not the way it's supposed to work. And
Correct.
so I, again, appreciate him saying we need to talk about this and really setting the tone of there's a person's actual life
Mm.
on the line. We should at least talk about what we've gone over.
And there's been, because I mean, it's not 1957. It'll be what will that be? 70 years next year? Is that what it'll be?
Don't make me
Um,
do that. We talk about movies here.
so it's a film that has been analyzed from a legal perspective many times. Sonia Sotomayor has said that it actually was a movie that inspired her to get into law. She does say, though, that when teaching law students, she has often said this, and when talking to jurors, she's often said, "Do not follow the tactics of the 12 Angry Men, because that one aspect you could say about this movie is that they overdo trying to find reasonable doubt, like kind of speculating on things, speculating on whether a woman wore glasses, and kind of really over like obviously as a juror you can't go out and do your own research and see if you can buy a similar knife
You certainly
that
can't bring a knife in a courtroom.
so you're not supposed to do those kind of things. So like it is kind of
You
advised that
can. You
like
get
they might go too
metal
far.
detectors and stuff.
But this film, I think, also beyond the legal analysis, and even the question of like whether or not they got it right or wrong, like that's not really something they don't answer that question for us. But the movie where it really comes, I think, through in the most in its most interesting way is you have these 12 men, and to be kind of, I don't know, I don't want to overdo this, but you have 12 white men, right? Mostly older than
No, I
this.
think it that really matters because this is
You have
also a time
Makes
in
a
the
huge difference.
country um, where there's a lot of social change happening, and
Mhm.
these are 12 white men, and it is a young Spanish American man on trial, and that it's
And
important.
and what they discover as they keep going is they all walk into that room, I think, and they all feel like we're all equal, right? We're all the same guy. We're all white guys, right? But they slowly uncover like there are little subtle things that separate us. There are some of us grew up poor and we're doing okay now. Some of us grew up poor and we're rich now. Some of us grew up rich and are still rich. Some of us are immigrants to this country or sons of immigrants. Some of us are blue collar. Some of us are white collar. Some of us are old men. Some of us are young men. Some of us are natural leaders. Some of us are emotional and excitable. Some of us are logical and clinical. And those different biases and those different prejudices slowly boil to the top as they keep asking these questions. Some people really care about our society, and some people like I think it's not Ed Begley's character, but the character who was making a lot of jokes, juror number 7. He's like, I don't, who cares? Okay, well, like, this is just get out of here, man. This is tiring. Like those different things, I think the movie really explores those different prejudices really well, that by the end of it, they don't feel equal to each other. They all feel like, oh, this is not as simple as things are. And you got to remember this, like you said, Josh, this is the height of social change. It's at the height of the McCarthy era. And a lot of people view this movie through the lens of being a critique of McCarthyism. And at the 30th Academy Awards where this was nominated, the Hollywood blacklist was still a thing. Like communism, the Red Scare was still a huge part of things. The guys who won Best Screenplay for Bridge Over the River
And
Kwai,
they're doing everything they can to bring it back.
we're heading that way. The guys who won a best so this was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, but lost to Bridge Over the River Kwai. And the guys who won that award, who wrote Bridge Over the River Kwai, were blacklisted and not presented the award. They presented it to another guy who didn't write it. They have been like since the Academy has gone back and rectified that or whatever. But it's a time where these types of struggles and conversations were happening, and this movie I think does a good job of reflecting that and exploring some of those differences,
Yeah,
or
it's
as much
also
as you can with 12 White Men.
to me, it's also a real look at the importance of questioning what's essentially a mob mentality.
Mhm.
It would the easiest solution would be to go, oh, everybody thinks he did it. Okay, I guess you're right. One of those other jurors might have been more willing to be like, all right, I'm ready to get out of here. But he wasn't. He was willing to stand up to the mob and say no, and here's why despite the risks at hand. And I think that's always an important lesson and reminder for people.
For sure. I mean, it would have been so I have done jury duty one time, and
Ooh,
we did have a case. It is kind of, when you go into they put you in a little room. You're not allowed to talk to each other as jurors the entire time. Like you're
sure.
like, so when you go into that room to do the deliberation, that's the first time you actually get to talk to each other. And if you're following the rules, it's the only time you've ever gotten to talk about the case with
Mhm,
anybody. So there's kind of an awkwardness of like, I've been sitting next to these people for who knows how long, 3 days, 2 days, 10 days, depending on like the trial. I think ours was like 4 days. So, I kind of had seen these people regularly, but we're not allowed to talk. And then we had to like suddenly have a whole conversation about whether or not this guy is going to go to prison for 70 years or not. Like, it's a very pressure sensitive thing.
And that it should be. I think that's again one of the things that this movie's trying to get the point across of is that you 12 people, depending on what your case is, hold the fate of someone in your hands. What
Mhm,
you decide based on what you've seen and heard
mhm,
can make a huge difference. And it's something that you should take a considerable amount of thought on because there is a line in there where they're talking about one of the witnesses' testimony,
mhm,
and they were saying it's just a matter of seconds. What does it matter? And uh, juror number 8 says, "I think testimony depending or that has somebody's life on the line should be that accurate." And I was like, yes, people just don't seem to take that responsibility that kind of seriously. And it might be the whole like, oh, jury duty sucks and you have to go sit there and yada yada yada. But if you do
mhm,
get on a jury, you should definitely, even if it's just a parking ticket, it is something that you should take seriously because you don't know how that's going to impact the other person's life. And a $5 parking ticket could mean they can't afford groceries, could mean they can't afford rent just because of something. And so you have to take everything that you've heard seriously, especially if you haven't had a chance to talk about it, David, because that's interesting. I didn't know that. But that adds to that why they absolutely should be having a discussion about what they've heard, what they've
mhm.
seen, because you have so many different points of view. And that
mhm.
is the point, is to say,
And
hey, I think here's this here, and then you break it down. So I think that this movie does a great job. Again, it kind of Sorkins it where it's like it's this idealistic thing of what it should be and how it
mhm.
should play out.
Yeah, and I mean, it does feel like both. I mean, it's no surprise that it has been adapted many times for other countries.
Sure.
It's been adapted to Germany, Korea, Japan, I think, as well. And then it's also been adapted to a stage play. It feels like a stage play.
This
I
is
was
like
kind
a
of surprised
stage
that it was
play.
first written for TV.
Yeah.
Um, it's the way that it's put together seems so simple, but it's a pretty complicated balancing act because you have this very small room where you have to balance 12 actors and whatever crew you have, right? The first 8 minutes or 7.5 to 8 minutes of the movie is all one shot where they do the cinematographer said they did 18 camera moves, moving in and back and around the room, introducing characters. You get to talk a little bit as they go back. And they said that what they actually did, because it was just easier, was if they had to focus on what like an actor had a monologue instead of shooting it in real time and trying to set up lights and move things around, they would just shoot all of that actor's stuff. And so like the people to like his left and right would be in the scene, and the people on the other side like, hey, go ahead and walk off. It's fine. We're gonna shoot this guy's whole part of the movie right now, and then we'll shoot this guy's whole part of the movie right now. And that's
Yeah.
kind of a crazy thing to think about, especially when you go back into editing. Is okay, we shot all of juror number two's stuff. Now we're going to shoot all of juror number one's stuff. Now we're going to shoot, vice whatever it is. So it's a very interesting way for the movie, like from a shooting perspective, and for a movie that's not a big. There's no set pieces. There's no major action. Like you have a very small box, and I think it's a very interesting challenge. And the way they pull it off, I think, did a great job of highlighting um, the what the point of this movie is, which is mostly the dialogue. It is mostly the performances and dialogue. That's what this. It's heavy on that. It's not so much heavy on a crazy plot or a over the top. There's no over top chase sequences or anything crazy like you might also look for in a big screenwriting thing. So anyway, yeah.
No, the facts of the case, so to speak, don't even really matter as much because we're still presented it through the eyes of the jury. Even when they talk about, they want to see the knife again and they want to go through all this stuff in the back. There's no shot. There's no like, oh, let's see a scene of how this was presented in the trial. It's never anything like that. It's
No.
only their perception of everything, which is, I just think, is a really interesting way to see it. It's the only way I can think of to really show you, I guess, what it would be like to be the jury or in the jury room. Like, you
Yeah.
don't, that's all you have.
No, and I think that, yeah, I mean, because they could have done flashbacks to, remember that day in court, what they
Or the
talked about?
first 20
Or,
minutes could have been, the closing arguments, and then it
yeah,
would go into it. But no,
it
we
was
don't know
like
anything about the
yeah.
arguments.
Yeah, you see the jury's instructions. You don't we don't see the final result. Like we don't see them go out and make the announcement and see how the the defendant reacts or anything like that. So I mean, it's a very contained story, and I think in that it is worthy of a nomination because it I think it's a challenge. It would like you can view challenge and writing as two different things. If you have a big worldwide sprawling epic, that's a challenge in writing. But also writing a story that's really compelling, that's pretty much one room. I'll give them the bathroom as well, but it's pretty much one room. Like that's a hard challenge to write and to keep that room interesting for
Well,
90
and
minutes.
you have to talk about the performances too, because yeah, that is, I mean, these people are the ones that have to make it interesting because the writing is pretty good. I mean, obviously, it's nominated for an Academy Award, and so these are the performers who have to take that piece and make it worth it, because it's tough. It's heavy. It's
Mm,
dialogue heavy. It's not, uh, you know, interesting as far as like cuts or actions, like keeping your attention other than the very interesting story and the way that it unravels and the way that they tell. I mean, obviously, I feel like the standout performers were juror number 3, juror number 7 and 8 and 10.
mm,
So you got Ed Begley, Henry Fonda,
hmm
Jack Warden, and J. Lee Cobb.
yeah, Jaylee Cobb. Yeah.
And each of them were so strong in their delivery, but they were also kind of one note. You have 12 different people, so they all kind of have to think and be a certain specific way without showing a lot of sway until they actually sway.
hmm
But
hmm
I think they all
Now,
did a really good job of delivering and making you like them or hate them or kind of forget about them if
yeah,
that's
no, I mean that's 100%. You have 12 characters. That's a lot of characters to manage. And to keep everybody and to kind of find a way because you start with 11 and you work your way slowly to two people say not guilty, well now 3, now 5, now 6 and 6, and slowly like finding what are those points that make someone question, and like what can their background tell you about that? What can their, family status, what can their, like those little things, what can we press on to make it believable that all of a sudden this is starting to change and make it, and you kind of have two villains, if you will. You have Ed Begley and you have juror number 3 played by Lee Cobb. They're very hot tempered. They're very like they hold on to the is like as long as they can.
toxic
Um, I think
masculinity
one
at
of the
its
more
finest.
powerful scenes in the movie is when Ed Begley really goes off on these people, and you can't
Yeah.
trust these people, and they will do this. And you kind of watch as each of the jurors reaches a breaking point in that type of language and steps away, except for 2. And I think that one of them would step away, but it's not in his character to, which is you have, and I like this guy a lot too. You have juror number 6 played by Edward Bands, and he's the one that has the glasses. He's very clinical. He doesn't raise
Yeah.
his voice. He's very meticulous. And I think he's listening to that thing because the guy's yelling, and he tells him at the end, "No, I heard what I'm listening. Now sit down and shut up and don't speak again." Like he didn't have to stand up because it's just not. He's like, "I'm going to tell this guy to stop," but like it's. I mean, this is where I'm going to be me from 2026 about it. It is so heartwarming to watch a man be shamed into silence. That is
Yeah.
something that I really
And
wish still worked today,
oh,
because all of those other men stand up and turn their back on him as he continues to spout essentially his prejudice, and for him to be him to be shamed into like, I got to go sit down and I'm gonna say not guilty because like maybe like even I've said more than I realized I knew about myself. Like,
Yeah,
David,
feels
I
like it wouldn't
appreciate
happen
great.
your
today.
input on that because my takeaway from that was, man, in 1957 and in 2026, I don't believe that many people would stand up and move away from the table during this idiot's rant.
Yeah,
It's very possible.
I think luckily I think he had irritated them enough before that.
That's the thing is I think it feels less likely today actually than
Yeah.
Yeah.
at least the writers could imagine it in 1950 in the 1950s. I can't even imagine it now.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
and
true.
I do think too it speaks to like it really like had the defendant been like a young black kid, I think it's different than the defendant, even if he is Spanish American, also looks white like them. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that also says a lot about like I mean, one of the characters is an immigrant or maybe the son of an immigrant. He makes an impassioned plea about why this system means like why he was proud to do this jury duty because it's something that in I think the way he puts it, like in his country, he wouldn't have been afforded this type of right,
Yeah.
or something like that. I have to go back to the specific line. Like it is a very interesting analysis of of those ideas
Well, they
with
did
great
remake it
performances, like you said.
in 1997. Did you guys watch that? Have you guys seen that version of it?
No, now I'm excited because you said that because I do
Okay,
think it
so
would be interesting to watch
I want
another
to.
interpretation of this.
so I watched it. I literally just
Ooh,
finished it before we jumped on the microphone. And so let me give you a quick little rundown. It's almost exactly the same. I mean, there's
really?
almost
Mhm.
zero changes to the dialogue, to the story. It is almost word for word the same. It's a little longer. It didn't seem like it was cut as quick, and they may have expanded on a few things. The thing that is mostly different is it's a more diverse cast.
Mhm.
So you have Courtney B. Vance as the foreman.
Oh,
You
Ossie
have
Davis.
Ossie Davis as juror
Oh,
number
that's great.
2. You have George C. Scott, better known as Ivan Ooze, as juror number 3. You have Armin Mueller-Stahl as
I'm
juror number
done.
4.
Oh man, James Gandolfini.
Yeah, James Gandolfini, Tony Danza, Jack Lemmon is juror number 8.
That makes sense.
Edward James Olmos. You've got William Peterson and all his CSI
Oh,
youngness there. So it is a
Michael
really
T. Williams.
strong cast. And some of the interesting, one of the more interesting choices that they made as far as casting was Mike Michael T. Williamson. I don't know if I said his name right, but
Yeah,
he's juror number 10,
he's
and
Bubba
he
Gump.
is a black man who looks like he was at one point. They bring up the Nation of Islam, and he is the one who is talking about his beliefs on people and those people. And so they made some interesting casting choices. I do wish it wouldn't have been exactly the same, uh, but I did feel like the diverse cast added a lot more.
Yeah, because I do think that I mean, people are always going to be anti remakes, but I do think when you have a story that is this, I think airtight conceptually, there is I'm really interested to see how other people interpret the same material. That's why obviously Uh, I'm glad to see it adapted to like a stage play. In the world of theater, you can do the same play billions of times with different actors because it's every performance is unique.
Yeah.
I wish we had a little bit more leeway towards remakes in the film world because I do think like, okay, yeah, I'm making this a diverse cast. What if this was a cast that was, I mean, that's why, you go to like another country where the cast can all be for the most part the same ethnic group. You can have a lot of the similar conversations, but that is, I mean, it is an interesting show. It's an interesting play. It's a great screenplay for adaptation.
David, what did you
Very
say
much
it
so.
lost to?
It lost a Bridge Over the River Kwai, which not gonna knock that.
No, that's fair.
No. I was checking some of the rankings of this movie and it's made several American Film Institute lists.
Yes,
Juror number 8 in particular was named the 28th best hero in their 100
yeah,
heroes and villains
yeah, and
list,
I
which is
think
pretty interesting.
12 Angry Men AFI voted it the second best courtroom drama. behind To Kill a Mockingbird.
Mm. Did they have
Has anyone
Matlock
seen
the
it?
movie on that list?
I don't think so,
What'd you
unfortunately.
say, Matlock?
Matlock the movie.
Um, I also think, oh darn, what was it? 12 Angry Men is it's kind of one of those movies that's like considered like a basic cinephile top four. You know what I mean? Like if you're like for the people who are like really like, oh yeah, letterbox tat, I'm a cinephile. If only they asked me about my profile page. Like it's a very like basic answer to be in your top four. But that said, it's because everybody really likes this movie. This is going to be a hard letterbox game that we do in a minute.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, are you kidding me? Yeah, I bet. I'm already interested to see what funny reviews there might be, if they're even funny. They're always funny. They gotta be.
Some of them.
All right. Well, are we ready? Are we ready for that point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
say so.
so.
Let's
I
go.
I think
mean,
so. Final ratings and reviews from us. Gosh, I think it's a 5-star movie for me.
whoa.
It's like top to bottom. What's wrong with it? You know?
Yeah,
It's good. It doesn't overstay its welcome, I don't think. I'm trying to think of like all the things that would knock it off 5 from me.
yeah.
And I don't think it has any of them. It holds up crazy well over that many years.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's it all of its strengths are highlighted and any weaknesses are hard to really poke too hard at, you know? And I mean, you could knock it for things like how realistic is it legally or, you know, the tactics of it or something like that, I suppose, but that's kind of what I don't really care about those things
Yeah.
so much. I think that like this is a kind of show I'd love to be in, you know, and that's always a
Ooh,
mark
yeah,
for
it'd be a
me, you
fun
know.
play.
It'd be a fun play to be in, I think, to be one of these characters. It's something I haven't rated a movie on that in a long time, but that is how I feel. I want to be one of these jurors. Um, so I think I'd also give it 5 stars. I think it is nearly flawless or flawless.
Nice. I am not gonna go as high
That's
as you
fine.
guys. I do think it's incredibly strong, obviously
Mhm.
worth the writing nomination and everything and the praise that it's gotten. For me, it again, I do care about some of those things, and I look at it like the same way I do, like whenever we analyze a Sorkin thing, like this is the way it should be, and it's not, and that's fine. But it
Mhm.
raises awareness to it, and I really appreciate it. But both versions, let me tell you, they're very slow. And that does get a ding for me, even if it's just a little when we're looking at the movie as a whole. I probably wouldn't want to watch these again, but I would. Should everybody else be like, yeah, let's do it. And be like, all right, I mean, yes, it's incredible, but like, "Oh, fine, I'm gonna fall asleep.
How many times do you end up in a room where someone goes, "Let's watch 12 Angry Men"?
Exactly, never, which is why I will probably never see these again. And that's why it's not gonna make it quite to 5. I'm gonna do a 4.5.
Okay, I am glad I knocked it off my list of
Yeah.
Yeah.
my watch list. That is. Um, I need to tell you when off camera, I should tell you guys about the jury duty I had one time. I
Oh,
have some
yeah, okay.
interesting takeaways.
All right, well, I got some letterboxd reviews here. We've got 4 stars, guilty of being a good ass movie.
Yeah.
5 stars, guess you could say that I couldn't be any Fonda of this film. 5 stars, 3 very angry men, 9 relatively pissed off men. I think that's a fair
Yes, that's what
assessment.
we yes, agreed.
4 stars, I know it smelled crazy in there.
Oh, man,
How do you
how
want to
many,
think about it?
well, them old men that can't control their farts either, babe, and it's
Exactly.
so hot. Mm-mm.
Oh
Exactly, and they
boy.
all smell like bad cologne.
Yeah.
And then finally, 5 stars, when they all start ignoring the racist. One of the best scenes in cinema history right there is no reasonable doubt.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Truly.
Awesome.
All right, what do we think? What do we think? I think they're gonna go high on this, but who guesses first?
Right now I am in last. You and
Okay.
Garrett are tied.
You
Josh,
gotta
since
guess
you
it.
won the most recent, then you'll go last. So it'll be me, Garrett,
Okay.
and Josh. So I'm gonna
Rip it.
guess Letterbox Community is gonna give us a 4.4.
Okay,
Whoa,
that's
you're
high.
shooting your shot.
I'm shooting high.
I am not gonna go that high, but I'm gonna give it a 4.2.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a 4.0, I guess, and just see if we go. I don't know. I don't know about higher than 4.4. That's
Mm.
that's crazy high.
No, it's gonna be
Let's
well
see.
reviewed. I'm not. Yeah.
No direct hits. David is the winner. I think, yes, this is a 4.6.
A
It is higher.
4.6?
This is a 4.6 movie. I'm shocked, actually.
Well, I mean, listen, we gave it 2 5s and a 4 and a
And a
half.
pizza
4.5.
2
place.
5s and a 4.5. That's 4.6, roughly.
That's amazing. I had no idea that they even went that high on Letterboxd.
No.
As an aggregate average, yeah, that's pretty freaking high.
So this must be almost
Mm.
exclusively 5s and 4.5s in its little
Yeah.
graph there.
And I mean,
that the
this is
case?
12 Angry Men. It's got 1.3 million ratings. It's got a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the thing now. The bar, the little grid is like 4, 4.5, 5. It's like that. And
Straight
there's
up into the sky.
there are let's see here. Oh, well, you got to read some of these reviews. Not right now, but just in time. There are 1,237 half-star reviews. What could that possibly be?
Too boring. Moving on.
I liked the racist. Things like that.
He was guilty.
Yeah, he was guilty. They should have killed him in the first 5 minutes.
Okay, well, that brings us to dead even through our first 8. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies of the year. 6 movies in. We are all tied 3 to 3 to 3.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We've got more best writing movies coming up. We've got Do the Right Thing next on the list, so go check that out. Be ready to watch that if you want to follow along with us. You can go to somanysequels.com, subscribe to the show on YouTube or Spotify for the video. Apple's getting video now. They're catching up, so maybe you'll be able to watch our videos there sometime. I don't care.
Yeah, one day we'll get a set or something. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, someday. So anyway, go check all that out at somanysequels.com. You can follow us on Instagram, So Many Sequels Pod, and let us know what you think of 12 Angry Men, or your favorite best picture, best writing movies, best Oscar movies. We want to hear about your favorite films. So go let us know. We'll see you guys next time.